it's so rewarding too, like doing something that you don't want to do that you know it's healthy for you. You should do it. Honestly, it goes back to delayed gratification, because especially in this society, I mean, everything is so instant. Our
just
phones are right here.
Hits all day.
It numbs our neurotransmitters too. This is why I love cold plunging. It's just, it resets your body.
Like doing cocaine naturally.
Exactly. Well, there's a study I read. This guy, he ended up getting off of like cocaine, drugs, just his addiction through cold plunging, because the dopamine like surplus was just so much greater than his coke. It was just fascinating.
Welcome to the V-Shred Better Body, Better Life podcast, where we help you live your best life while working on your health and fitness goals. We're here to make your journey fun and inspiring.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the V-Shred Better Body, Better Life podcast. Today, I'm your host, Vince Sant, and I'm here with Josie Medema, and we're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff related to getting started with your fitness journey. Josie is a certified personal trainer. She has her bachelor's in kinesiology, minor in nutrition from the University of Utah. She's a myofascial stretch certified coach. And today, we're just going to be talking about all things fitness. So, Josie, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm glad to be here and can't wait to get started.
It'll be fun. So I know I just kind of introduced you. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, what got you into fitness?
Man, so I originally grew up in Chicago. I've been active my whole life. Midwest,
Chi-town.
Represent.
Yeah,
left that, not going back to the Midwest.
I feel that too. Weather kind of sucks there.
You know? Oh my God, dude. No idea. But yeah, so I did gymnastics, competitive cheer, track and field all through growing up. And then I think probably junior year, I got into P90X. And so I did that for about like 6 months, started getting bored.
Tony Horton, right?
Oh, hell yeah. It's Tony Horton.
OG
that man
right
is.
It's that OG.
I loved that whole program. But yeah, so then started going to the gym a little bit more, taught myself like more lifting stuff. I went to Lifetime and just fell in love with the gym. I went to college and then started getting more into bodybuilding, and then started messing around in the mountains a little bit more too. Got really into hiking.
Yeah, you're going out on some crazy hikes.
Dude, I fell in love with the mountains once I moved to Utah. But yeah, so I'm doing competitive bodybuilding now, doing a show in June.
You just did a show, right?
Yeah, I did a June show.
Shredded in it.
Dude, yeah, the abs just really shine when I lean down, which is awesome.
What got you into bodybuilding?
I think I've always been into lifting and just anything that challenges me. So yeah, I started junior year of high school, just not really knowing what I was doing. But
it's like the high school gym, or you were going?
No, I was going to Lifetime. Okay. And so
where was this? This was in Chicago?
This is in Chicago. Okay. Yeah, like Oak Brook area, if anybody knows where that is.
Nope.
Represent? No. It's a smaller town. But yeah, I started just teaching myself like resistance exercises, looking up stuff on YouTube, watched a lot of like workout videos. And then I personally love tying in science with what I'm going to be doing exercise wise. So I started delving into that, wanted to grow my butt, just started working. Yeah.
Girls never want to grow their butt.
No, never. Girls go to the gym now. It's crazy. But yeah, since then I just kind of fell in love with it. One of my buddies actually got me into bodybuilding. So I found a coach that wanted to grow a female-based bodybuilding team. Tried that out for my first show when I was about 19 or 20. And then, from there I fell in love with it. Switched teams to like a team that I love, which is Team Butler Muscle, Represent. But since then, love it. I love incorporating functional fitness too, because bodybuilders have a tendency of not maximizing mobility and stretching.
Yep, we were just talking about this.
Yeah, so I love to just incorporate a little bit of everything while growing in bodybuilding.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask if you had like anybody that kind of helped you get started or kind of shorten the learning curve a little bit, because obviously that's a big aspect or a big roadblock as to why people either just don't get started at all or they just take a couple wrong steps here or there and they kind of lose motivation. Is there anything in the beginning that you were doing that you kind of look back on now where you're like, I don't know why I did that, that you kind of messed up on?
Honestly, so I think whenever anybody's starting any realm of fitness, hiring a coach is going to be really important and like effective. Specifically, like a good coach knows what they're doing. You have to have good communication. It's a two-way street. So I didn't personally fit with the team I was in when I first started with bodybuilding. So, I mean, if I could go back, I probably would have started with Team Butler Muscle. But, I mean, everything's a learning experience. Honestly, I probably wouldn't take back what I've learned along the way. But
what's the no regrets? R-A-G?
No regrets. Yeah, mislabeled and everything.
Yeah.
No regrets.
What would you say are some of like the common misconceptions around getting started with your fitness routine?
For fitness, I feel like it's so broad because, I mean, for me personally.
And that's one of the issues is it is broad.
Yeah. So everybody's going to be different with the challenges they face when they start. But, I mean, for me specifically, I would say resistance training. I mean, there's a lot of information online. So it's going to be like kind of overwhelming to read it and find where to start, what workouts to do, like what to eat, especially once you would start incorporating nutrition in the mix. It gets pretty overwhelming for a majority of people.
And did you incorporate nutrition from the very beginning?
Yeah. So I actually just fell in love with intermittent fasting.
Okay. You still fast to this day?
In high school, sometimes. So I, not every day, just because it is a lot on your gut.
Yeah.
So depending on the day, I usually have like 1 or 2 meals. Other days, just eat normally throughout. It helps a lot with cutting for me specifically. Some people, it doesn't work. Like it can affect your hunger hormones and like your relationship with food, just not eating all day.
Right.
I hate cooking, meal prepping food.
I feel that
with a passion.
To my core.
Dude, yeah, it's just such an extra step.
Have you tried any other kind of diets?
I never wanted to try keto, so stayed away from that one. My mom, on the other hand, has tried keto, and I've told her, like, keto is not what it's cracked up to be for the most part. For the majority of people that try it, you're not even in ketosis, and it's very easy to regain that weight once you like stop doing it. But yeah, other than that, I really haven't focused on different diets, just prioritizing protein. I actually have this metabolic cart at my work. It's a 2-part system.
Like one of the masks, I assume they kind of plug the nose and
so it's a full like facial coverage
VO2 type
covering
thing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the active portion of the test is the VO2 max. And then resting, you just lay down flat, just breathing for, I think, about 10 minutes. And it measures what substrates your body prioritizes at rest. And then for the active test, it measures what substrates your body prioritizes and uses during each zone
of cardio.
Yeah, exactly. So you know your fat burning efficiency, like what
where
substrates.
Your body favors carbs versus.
Yeah, and like what specific exercises you would benefit from to like reach your goals, whether it's to build, cut, like increase endurance. And
so did you restructure your training based off of that?
Yeah, so I actually took it first right when I was starting my marathon prep and then bodybuilding prep too.
Which she did a marathon during prep, which is wild.
Yeah, it was a little difficult. Probably won't do that again.
Yeah.
I was holding on to a lot of water and inflammation in my legs for my bodybuilding show.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely an experience.
Because I'm doing a marathon. They just announced the Las Vegas Marathon in November next year. They're like, I guess the last time they did it was like 20 years ago or something like that.
Now really? They don't even have one?
Mm-mm. And so this will be like the first one in like a decade or two.
So
I'm for sure doing it, but I'm like, oh boy, I already get hurt enough.
Honestly, you build it up a lot more than like you're actually thinking. Yeah. So for me, I mean, I was really nervous going into it because I hate endurance unless I'm hiking and like it's pretty and fun. Mm-hmm. But running is so monotonous for me, and training in the winter. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. I was just running, like my personal routine for it was running about 5 to 6 miles 3 times a week. And then one day I did a long run between 10 to 18 miles. Kicked my ass. I've never ran more than like 8 miles or 10 miles before this prep. So that was.
What was your
it
longest
an
run
accomplishment.
before the marathon? Did you ever do a
Yeah,
true
it was,
marathon?
Oh, hell no.
So
it was like
so the
8 miles.
26.2 was the longest. Was that was the
yeah.
first time you did it?
Yeah, first time.
Wow.
Trying to think. There may have been like a hike that I went on that was
26 miles.
actually, I take that back. No. I mean backpacking, but that's multiple days and it's a little bit more fun and like laid back. But yeah,
That's
straight
wild.
26
Good for you.
miles. Thanks. It kicked my ass. My feet are still recovering from it.
Are you gonna do another marathon actually?
I don't
Ever?
think honestly
you did one. You're like, I'm
it's
good.
like a
I
one
got
and
it
done.
checked off the bucket list.
Yeah, but I don't know. I love challenging myself in especially physical ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to find something else that'll like provide that for me, especially something that like, people hear and they're like, oh, that's crazy and masochistic. I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
I want to do that.
Yep.
So I definitely want to try to find something like I was telling you earlier, Spartan races, mud runs. Like, I think that stuff's super fun to train for. And I mean, living out in Utah, like Salt Lake area, there's a lot of trail races.
Yeah, y'all got a bunch of them.
Oh my God. Yeah. And I've done a couple of them, kick my ass.
Yeah.
Like that elevation gain
Yeah, I
when
bet.
you're starting just knocks you on your butt.
Yeah.
So I think I'll do a couple more of those, but focusing on bodybuilding for sure.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of a good segue into like just talking about the motivational aspect of sticking to a routine, because I feel like everybody finds it pretty easy to get started on something. Not easy, but like a month and a half from now is going to be a bunch of people who are super motivated to get in shape because New Year's rolls around. But then February rolls around and most of those people have already fallen off. How do you find the consistency in motivation, or how do you stick to it even when you're not motivated?
Well, that's the thing. Motivation is it's fleeting. Like it doesn't last long. So that's where discipline comes in. And this is one of the biggest problems I think most people have with sticking to, a diet or a workout plan, like whatever goals they have. They have the motivation, but, day or 2, week, even a month later, their motivation wears away.
Yep.
Even if they don't see the results that they're wanting to see, they get discouraged, fall off the plan. It's just like kind of a snowball effect, and then they're back to square one. So I don't know. For me, I think the discipline, having a plan, sticking to a good schedule and a regime, it's never failed me.
Do you think that there's like anything related to like goal setting, like as like short term
huge.
versus long term? Like how do you go about that?
Yeah, I think short-term goals and long-term goals are great. It all depends on what, your personal goals are. But for me, I wanted to do a marathon and a bodybuilding show, predominantly because it was difficult and not a lot of people do that. So
Nobody does that.
No. Yeah, so my goal was just making a good cardio plan that would fit into my bodybuilding prep because, you have to do cardio when you're prepping for a show anyway. So my cardio was just running for the marathon, which definitely increased my inflammation in my legs. So I was trying to combat that with a lot of other like recovery techniques and whatnot. Cold plunged a lot.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah, I'm big on the cold plunging, especially in the mountains in Utah. It's amazing. And it's getting cold there now, so
All them
I'm
lakes
getting
are
excited.
freezing.
Yeah.
We talked about nutrition and how that plays a role. Is there like a specific strategy you would recommend? You talked about how like you've kind of always leaned towards like fasting. You never tried keto. Is there like a specific strategy you would recommend for beginners?
For beginners, I would say, depending if they're resistance training and if they're doing endurance as well, because that's going to be burning quite a bit more protein, or it's going to increase your protein needs. I mean, a rule of thumb, like 1 gram per pound of body weight for protein, healthy amount of, carbohydrates and fats.
What would you call a healthy amount?
Gosh, for me, carbohydrates probably make up like 40-50% of my total calories, and then fats at about like 15-20%, and then the rest protein, about give or take, depending.
And then where do those carbs usually come from? Like what's your preferred carb source?
Honestly,
Maybe not preferred, because preferred might be a little bit different than optimal.
Yeah.
What's a good balance of optimal carb intake versus preferred carb intake?
So I would say a good combination between simple and complex carbs, depending like when you're going to be training. But I mean, personally, I think the most filling carb is potatoes. So as far as satiety goes, that's going to be pretty helpful with making sure you're being full. Personally, I love oatmeal. I think it tastes great, and I notice my energy is like definitely optimal as opposed
Just
to if I used
sustained more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally like complex carbs
Yeah.
a lot more than simple, unless I'm like right about to be training
Or right
in the
after
gym.
or something.
Yeah. Oh, well, honestly, like gummies, sugar, like glucose helps a lot with getting a crazy pump
I
in the
was gonna
gym.
say.
Oh yeah. Leg days go hard if I have
Some sour patch in the gym is like the
Exactly.
OG way of getting a nasty pump.
Yes, exactly.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out, like, not figure out, but address the common concerns of people who are getting started. And a big one of those is people who are busy.
Yeah. Man, I know my dad, that's just the first person that comes into my head. Like, man works 10, 12-hour days. And this is something he struggled with, just finding the time, because he wakes up, goes to work immediately, comes back, he's already exhausted,
Yeah.
does more work, goes to bed. But honestly, like waking up, getting in a workout in your house, so you don't even need to go to the gym, which is something that's great about V-Shred, because you can do it in your house. You don't need like crazy equipment or anything. It's easy to make excuses. It's easy to get lazy and lose kind of sight of what your goals are and what you want to get done. So like we were talking about before, making a goal, making plans of what you want to get done and like how to achieve that, which is honestly why hiring a coach can help a lot with beginners, at least just to get started for a few months. And then, seeing where that goes, seeing where your passion is in different realms of fitness, and then going from there.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up the whole gym aspect of things, because that's another thing people think they have to have is they have to go get some nice gym membership and they have to use all the amenities, and a lot of people don't want to go, can't afford to go, don't have time to go. And so because they can't go, they think that they're just not meant to get in shape, when in reality, I'd say, I mean, honestly, 60-70% of our total clients do at-home workouts. I know you like bodybuilding. Are you a fan of
Oh, yeah. That's what got
workouts?
me into bodybuilding and working out in
true.
general.
P90, okay.
Oh, damn straight. Tony
Yeah,
Horton.
yeah.
Yeah. I love it, especially for like circuit training. I mean, honestly, I think it was called Kenpo X. It was like a boxing type of P90X workout. That one kicked my ass. Like 45, 50 minutes of just straight, like throwing punches,
Really?
kicks. Yeah. And you can 100% get a crazy workout. I think the difficulty is incorporating progressive overload when you don't have very many weights.
Explain progressive overload for everybody.
So progressive overload, it's basically the principle of incorporating another level to increase volume on like a weekly, monthly basis. So you can continually, get better. And for instance, if you're in the gym, you increase weight, you increase your rep sizes. Like there's multiple ways where you can increase the difficulty in the volume of your training. But it's a little bit more difficult to do that when you're like in your house.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you were doing that, do you have equipment that you use with it?
Yeah. So there's optional equipment. That's one thing I like too. So depending on your level of fitness, you could just do body weight, or if you wanted, you can incorporate dumbbells. That obviously incorporates you need to have dumbbells, but and then tension bands too. So yeah, I had a little bit of a home gym set up in my house in Chicago. So
Do you work out at home anymore at all?
oh no, I'm like
big gym rat now.
Big gym rat now. Yeah, it's just the whole gym culture too. I think a lot of newbies in the gym, they can get a little bit discouraged.
Yeah.
Going to the gym, it's intimidating. There's a lot of people that they think know what they're doing, that don't make mistakes. And the people that do know what they're doing, like, you don't want to go up to them and ask. But honestly, everybody at the gym is so welcoming. And like, if you ask someone for help or questions, more than likely they're going to be like, they're going to love to help and give you information.
Yeah.
So
No, I think that's probably one of the biggest pieces that people like overlook. Cause like when you're following a workout program or you're starting to go to the gym, it's intimidating.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information. You're not sure if you're doing things right. Your lack of self-confidence as well that comes with it. And so you're going to the gym, not feeling too good about yourself, seeing all these people who are seemingly know what they're doing when most of them don't know what they're doing anyways.
Exactly.
And it's intimidating. And so, yeah, I was going to ask you how the gym environment or just the community aspect, how people can use that to their benefit.
Yeah, I think asking questions, like I said before, most everybody's going to be more than willing to like help you or just talk, like see what your goals are and then kind of compare and contrast that with whoever you're talking to. I love helping people too if they have questions in the gym, and honestly, especially people just coming up and saying like, hey, like I see you working hard at the gym. That's motivating as hell to see. I just want to let you know, like, you're kicking ass. Like, thanks. That's always super reassuring to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives me an extra level of like incentive to go to the gym and keep at a routine and keep that discipline grounded.
It's also nice having that like extra incentive to have good form, to push a little bit more weight. Because I feel like in the beginning, they're intimidated by the environment. But I believe that as that goes on, as a couple months pass, they build that confidence. Now all of a sudden, they're the confident one in the gym, and people might even start asking them. And I think another thing is that people like look at like bigger guys at the gym and they get super intimidated, and they go up to those guys, and those are the nicest people ever.
Oh, always. I mean, even bodybuilders, especially, like, I don't know, the big boys I've met, like, kindest souls ever.
I think the community aspect is the most overlooked aspect of it, because that can be a make or break in whether or not someone actually follows through with a program.
Yeah.
Like if they're going home to an unhealthy household with a bunch of people who don't care, and they're kind of talking down on you for trying to be better, like that can have a real negative effect on you. And so I think having that support system somewhere, whether it's making friends at the gym, whether it's joining a Facebook group, whether it's joining a run club, whatever it is, can have a massive impact on whether or not you actually stick to a routine if that home life is not quite there. Have you ever experienced anything like that?
Honestly, the gym's always been such a like stress relief. And if I'm ever getting anxious or overwhelmed, like whatever it is, working out, even in the mountains, it's either I go to the gym or hike, trail run in the mountains. It relieves everything. Honestly, I find myself getting such clarity in like whatever I'm stressed about or
what do you say to people who don't find that they're not getting that, they don't see it that way?
I think everybody
they look at it as a task.
It's a chore, right? Yeah. I think you should just find a form of exercise and working out that you personally enjoy. Even if it's something as simple as going on a walk, like listening to a podcast while you're just going around your block, and, you know, going from there, if you want to try swimming or do something that challenges you, but not like challenging enough where you're going to, you know, fall off the wagon. You're not going to adhere to it.
Not going to burn yourself out.
Yeah. Mobility too plays a huge role.
What do you do for mobility?
Oh God, a lot of stuff. So I do.
And how do you think that plays a role in your fitness? So
mobility, flexibility, different things. Mobility, I think, is going to be more important than flexibility, at least to start with, especially if you're lifting, just so you can get your joints through the proper range of motion. I mean, there's studies that, you know, correlate a decreased risk of injury with higher levels of mobility. So I personally do just a lot of different things focusing on my joints. So I do a lot of cars for my shoulder and hips, which for anybody that doesn't know, they're controlled articular rotations, which is basically taking your joint through its full range of motion.
Like super slow, super controlled. And it's actually really, really hard.
It kicks your ass. Yeah. That also helps a lot just for me to prep my, like the mind muscle connection. Just neurologically, like I can fire my muscles that much easier if I can properly warm them up by doing mobility drills, increasing my heart rate, doing activation drills like if I'm doing leg day, specifically targeting my glutes, I love doing just lateral walks to target like the medialis. And then same thing with just glute bridges to target glutes more. That works wonders with targeting the right, muscles.
Did
that
you
you're
always
gonna be
do
working.
this pre-activation mobility stuff, or is this something that you kind of got into a little bit later?
I think I've always been into it just because I did gymnastics growing up, and we prioritize that big time. Plus, I have this weird goal that I just never want to lose my splits, so I stay on top of that.
And what do you think how the mental aspect has an effect on this?
Oh my gosh, so much. I started going to the gym because like I wanted to grow my butt. I wanted to get lean, see my abs more. And I'm continually going to the gym because I love it and I love the way I feel working out. And the mental clarity I get is like astounding. I love it. And then I also feel energized after working out. I feel like I've accomplished something. And honestly, you learn a lot about your body when you're working out, even if it's like running, doing any sort of endurance training, or if it's bodybuilding, like lifting style. You get very connected and in tune with like what issues are going on with your body, how just minor tweaks in form can work wonders. Like even for running, I had to work like really hard with just making sure I had proper form. Oh, dude, I'm such a toe runner.
Are you?
It kicked my ass.
Are you a sprinter naturally then?
Yeah, I did sprints in track and field. Yeah, so that's just naturally like what I do.
Yeah.
And then, I had to relearn how to run pretty much, especially on the treadmill. Like I feel bad kind of rolling off my foot, like how you're supposed to run. So I just naturally run on my toes and it backfires real quick.
Shin splints and...
Oh, yeah. A little bit of plantar fasciitis.
Yeah. I loved what you said about like, you got to find something that you enjoy. And I would add to that is to try stuff that you think that you're going to like, and also try stuff that you don't think that you're going to like.
It's so rewarding too, like doing something that you don't want to do that you know it's healthy for you. You should do it.
And maybe you suck at it and then getting better at it.
It's so rewarding. Yeah. It's honestly, it goes back to delayed gratification, because especially in this society, I mean, everything is so instant. Our phones are right here.
Hits all day.
And it numbs our neurotransmitters too. This is why I love cold plunging. It's just, it resets your body.
Like doing cocaine naturally.
Exactly. Well, there's a study I read. This guy, he ended up getting off of like cocaine, drugs, just his addiction through cold plunging, because the dopamine like surplus was just so much greater than his coke. Yeah. It was just fascinating.
Yeah, that's wild. I've seen like the breakdowns of like, I forget what all the comparisons are, but it was like, this gives you this percentage of dopamine, this gives you this percentage. And I think cocaine was like 225%, and then cold plunge was like 250 or something. So it gives you more. And it lasts
for so long too. It's like 4 or 6 hours after. Like my energy afterwards, I would do that a lot during prep because you're depleted, not a lot of food. And so I wouldn't want to jump into water because that's kind of the last thing you'd want to do when you're tired. But yeah, I would get such a surge of energy after it and like ready to do cardio.
You do cardio after that?
Sometimes. It varies on the day, but I think
I'd be done after a cold plunge.
Oh, well, when I was training for my marathon, that was like my halfway mark for some of the days. I would just jump into this river. I'd run up the canyon, like probably 6 miles, 7 miles, jump in, and then I'd run back, which probably isn't smart. So my body's all cooled down.
Yeah, right.
It was nice.
No, I can't remember what it is. I think it's a cold plunge is good before, but not after.
Yeah, I think you need to wait a period of time after.
Okay.
So it's an anti-inflammatory. It's going to help you recover faster, which sounds great. Like you should do it as soon as you're done training, but then it takes away your body's natural ability to recover itself. I was going to say the natural
inflammation that happens after you break down muscle fibers is crucial for their growth.
Yeah, exactly. So it needs to learn how to recover on its own. And I mean, obviously like stretching is going to be great for post-workout. Predominantly static stretching, which is, you hold a stretch for 30, 60 seconds. But yeah, I believe it's like you got to wait 2-4 hours after working out to cold plunge. And like not have adverse effects on your goals, like fitness.
Yeah, that makes sense. So if anybody out there got started in the New Year's and now they've fallen off, what do you have to say to them?
Honestly, make a plan, like set goals for yourself. And I hate saying to be consistent because I think it's very repetitive. I've heard it quite a bit and it goes in one ear, out the other, but it's so true. Like incorporate progressive overload in whatever you're doing. Make sure that you're doing a activity that you actually enjoy doing and love. It's just constantly challenge. Like if you don't want to go to a gym, if you're feeling lazy, lethargic, but you know you need to, just go. Like that's why you make a plan, stick to it. I swear after you're done with whatever level of fitness you're doing, you're going to be so happy that you went and did it and got it done.
Yep. And being realistic about it.
Yeah.
I think that's a big issue.
It's a lifestyle change. It's not a fad or a diet or just a short-term thing. And that's what I tell like my clients and my parents too. It's not an acute change. It's long-term.
Yeah.
Like you're changing your life.
Yeah.
You got to be consistent.
And you don't
with
have to dive into it head first. I think some people are like that naturally. They like to they like to go all in. But then some people will try that and they'll burn themselves out. So I think like making small adjustments along the way where you're like, okay, this week I'm just going to focus on being more active.
100%.
After you get used to creating a routine around being more active, it's like, okay, the next week I'm going to meal prep for the first time. After you kind of get in a routine of that, it's like, okay, next week, now you're going to start prioritizing sleep and hydration and maybe supplementation or stretching now, or maybe you're getting a little down the rabbit hole and you're like, I'm going to try some biohacking and some cold plunge or whatever. But
hell yeah.
Yeah, I think the goal setting aspect of it is huge. And like you said, like not relying on motivation. I think that's probably the biggest one. People are expecting themselves to just be motivated all the time. They have this goal at New Year's. I want to lose 20 pounds so I can look good in a bikini or whatever. And then they may lose a couple pounds, but then all of a sudden work was long that day. The kids are stressing them out. Their house is dirty. They need to cook dinner. They have all these things that are going on. Now all of a sudden, looking good in that bikini ain't as important.
No.
Versus if they have created that routine where like at this point in my life, I don't think about if I'm going to the gym. I think about when I'm going to the gym.
Exactly.
And I think that's a big shift.
Well, honestly, once you have it in your mind, the possibility of not going and not doing what you're supposed to be doing, that's when it starts getting a little shaky and you start falling off the wagon.
Start negotiating with yourself of, I can miss today.
Oh, especially once you miss that day too, that opens the door completely
it's just a
for more.
negative feedback loop that you keep feeding into, and it's just the end of it. That's just how you fall off the wagon.
Yeah. And that's why honestly, keeping a good schedule, like keeping a routine that you can follow every day, it helps just keep the consistency going just every day.
Yeah.
But
well, cool.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I appreciate you being on here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on here. It's great.
We'll have to get you back in for a couple other topics. Hopefully everybody enjoyed this. Hopefully this helped you guys just get a little bit of advice, tips and tricks on what to do if you are starting your fitness journey. Also, if you guys are looking for a platform to get started with, we obviously have a ton of different programs here at V-Shred, whether they're 30-day programs, 90-day programs, custom programming, gym workouts, home workouts. We also have supplements. We also have clothing. So check it all out. But thank you again for being here.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of V-Shred's Better Body, Better Life podcast. Whether you're doing one of our programs, taking our supplements, or just doing things on your own, tune in every week for exclusive content with Vince, V-Shred trainers, and special guests as they share valuable tips around motivation, workouts, food, and living a healthier lifestyle. See you next time.